Today I will explain you people of a Hong Kong Chinese culinary dramatization film hit make a ton of amazing food. The film revolves around a renowned nearby cafe named the Seven. Spring Ave Hong Kong. The capable gourmet expert of the eatery Sky Ko has practical experience in southern-style food. TV have highlights the 30-year-old eatery and its shaft on a culinary program. Sky shows his ability on public TV despite the fact that he is now famous as the best cook in all of Spring Ave. Close by him his companion Uni is likewise acquainted with individuals she typically deals with. The monetary angle. Assuming the eatery Sky is extremely conclusive about the nature of food and time they give to their clients, which is essential for the justification for why their cafe is so famous. More often than not it is stuffed to such an extent that a line of individuals needs to arrange outside the cafe that day. A discourteous client jumps in subsequent to separating the line. Sky won't serve him, despite the fact that the client brags about the influence and cash he has prior to leaving. The man giggles at their little cafe, fails that his supervisor has welcomed a top-notch gourmet expert to open a 3-star cafe in verse to theirs. The idea alarms Uni, yet she excuses it as a feign. In the interim in France, the delegated lord and sovereign are inviting their infant child. They hold a monstrous ball to commend the birth and welcome A-list cook to cook for the visitors. We are acquainted with the sub-shaft all on his a Michelin-featured Korean culinary expert prepared in France. Paul has a unique approach to cooking that doesn't see limits in a single specific style. He loves to blend cooking styles from various nations and consequently make inventive dishes for the cook exceptional. He gives the sovereign a sweet that seems to be a red egg that is loaded up with mango puree and coconuts. Net the dishes motivated by the practice that represents red eggs as a gift to the infant. The delectable dish and the importance behind it contacted the royals' hearts and they acclaim Paul's splendid work. After the effective he and his associate Mayo got back to the cafe that they as of now work for, the proprietor and their colleagues invite them with roots for praising them their prosperity. The proprietor additionally declared is that they have elevated Paul to the chief shaft of the entire workmanship nouveau establishment. This progression is an immense one for him. Anyway, to everybody's shock he declines the proposition. Paul needs to get back to a shockingly he declines the proposition, go to Asia and seek after a greater and higher aspiration. Financial specialist June petitioned by a Chinese financial specialist who needs to open a 3-star cafe. The staff upholds their choice and wishes them goodbye. Back on Spring Ave, one of Sky's normal clients illuminates him that the gossip about the new eatery being laid out is valid. The news is ambivalent for Sky since he maintains little settlement should grow. Yet another cafe would mean less clients and more contest. When Sky was a decade old his dad used to hit him and affront him for having no ability as a cook. One day he deserted Sky and decided to seek after his culinary profession over being a dad, with the reason being that Sky lacked the ability to cause a fair bowl of noodles. To envision your father leaving due to noodles. Since Uncle Seven, the expert and proprietor of the Seven Cafes, has dealt with him, he likewise showed Sky all that he had to be aware of food dissimilar to his dad. As of now Sky hasn't met his dad in north of 20 years and has no arrangement to accommodate with him. The next morning Paul shows up in Hong Kong and goes to the market looking for a major grouper fish. The vendor has only one of the fish and chooses to offer it to Sky, realizing that he will cook it better. Paul contends, demanding that a businessperson ought not be one-sided. They get into a little contention before the merchant slices the fish down the middle for the two of them. Half a month after the fact is the initial function of the 3-star eatery named Heavenly that is directly before the 7 eatery. The administrator and director of the Lee administration bunch shows up as the first visitor. Welcome by Paul and Mayo. 7 eateries begin reporting nt attempt to stop them. A contention emerges making them terrible. When the discussion gets warm they hold a Contest to see which cook is better. Sky and Paul perceive each other from the market and acknowledge the demand. They choose to enjoy a fish trimming contest. Paul goes first and handily picks each of the ribs from a fish. Instantly following that, Sky takes similar fish and trims it into even pieces. In a moment the group breakdown for himself, and even Paul is intrigued. The executive of the Lee gathering needs to report the outcomes in an impartial manner. He asserts that the genuine outcomes may be declared in the worldwide gourmet specialist challenge rivalry that the two culinary specialists have partaken in. He additionally reports that he is intending to assume control over the whole Spring Ave province to eliminate the structures in general and modernize it. Assuming Sky wins in the opposition, the executive will pull out his arrangement to safeguard the legacy of the state anyway. On the off chance that Paul wins, he will proceed with the arrangement, with the eventual fate of the whole settlement in his grasp. Sky, forced yet not set in stone, to give his all for the following couple of days. The quantity of clients at the Seven Eatery diminishes. Uni is stressed that they could before long leave business. Yet Sky guarantees her that is preposterous. He gives her the case of escargot and field snails, asserting that there will continuously be individuals who like one more than different. They don't need to change their food to be preferable over the heavenly cafe, in light of the fact that there will constantly be clients who like theirs better. The next day Sky is met with dissatisfaction when he goes to the market and figures out that the Heavenly Eatery has purchased all the great fish. The day is baffling for the laborers in the Seven Cafe until they figure out that Sky has been chosen for the culinary rivalry. He will before long conflict with Paul to be chosen for the elimination rounds. However, at that point it is reported that the victor should conflict with the double-cross victor of the opposition. Mountain Co arrive at the finals and go up against him that evening. Uncle Seven gets back from his excursion, approaches Sky, races to area, yet his dad with Uncle Seven. Mountain yet finds his dad with Uncle Seven. Mountain gruffly says that he actually doesn't put stock in Sky and doesn't lament leaving him for his vocation. The words are the most destructive thing Sky has heard, yet he conceals his aggravation with outrage. He vows to win the opposition and demonstrate that being a decent cook doesn't need being a terrible like Mountain, as upon the arrival of the culinary double the hopefuls get an hour and a half to cook a dish of their decision, and introduced Sky makes a conventional salt heated duck, while Paul makes a foie gras sorbet. The whole an hour and a half are extraordinary, as the two cooks show incredible aptitude while cooking their particular dishes. Sky cuts the duck's internal parts with almost no work and hauls them out productively, making the crowd wheeze. In the end, prepares the duck in salt and breaks the extra layer to uncover a very much cooked duck with vegetable stuffings. The adjudicators attempt it and appeared to be more dazzled by Sky's duck than Paul's sorbet. When the time has come to cast a ballot, Paul gets 3 9s and an astounding 10 out of 10, scoring an aggregate of 37. Focuses just after Sky gets 2 10s from the initial 2 appointed authorities. The third adjudicator gives him a 9, yet the last adjudicator just gives him an assistant on the grounds that the two culinary experts have tied in guides. The head judge pursues the leader choice toward make Paul the champ, since his dish show was better than Sky's plating, despite the fact that Paul's triumph ought to have hardened his capacities as a cook. Things took an unexpected turn. While commending their triumph, the director illuminates Paul that he needs to reimburse. According to him, a lady is more engaging in the media than a man. Paul attempts to shield his situation as head gourmet specialist. Mayo uncovered that he experiences issues tasting specific flavors like pungency. For the beyond couple of months he has been utilizing a notepad containing every one of his recipes to cook and cannot do anything all alone. Mai additionally reveals that she never needed to get to know Paul, and just Boston storms never discuss that send their contention share their past and inconveniences. Uncovers that his dad was an incredible blaze. I can't Skype yet. His and Mountain's relationship after the discussion they find common regard. Picture Korean Paul would rather not abandon the opposition, yet since he can't part is an agent of this Heavenly Eatery, paid as a singular culinary specialist in the wake of Exposing Buck Sky go along with him for the elimination round. Supervisor of Heavenly is at the 7 Wistrand encouraging 7 to. Furthermore, couldn't show off her abilities for the last round. Only one of the gourmet experts could go up against Mountain. Paul feels that in view of his absence of taste he is ineligible to interest. He knows that Sky's longing to beat Mountain is an extremely private one. Pence he proposes Sky face Mountain in the finals. The next day Sky stands eye to eye with his dad. The opposition requests that they cook anything they need in an hour. The dad and child don't share Peacock yet Sky is occupied by his viewpoints. He recalls how Mountain deserted him and how much individuals mean to have the considerations overpowered Sky, and he can barely concentration to inspire him to return to his detects. Mountain sprinkles water at his children face. The activity brings Sky back and he quickly begins making batter before the hour's over. Mountain makes a stylish sugar show of liquid magma with a blossom on top. Conversely, Sky's dish is a smidgen more basic yet private. He makes noodles like the noodles that Mountain made quite a while back prior to leaving his child. The appointed authorities attempt Mountain's dish and are dazzled by it anyway. Sky never hands his dish to them. He gives the bowl of noodles to Mountain, eats it and is moved past. He recollects what the noodles address. Finally he must choose to recognize his child's brightness in culinary workmanship. The victor of the opposition is indistinct. However, the adjudicators never got the food. In the accompanying scene we see a group kids accumulated external. The 7 rest. Subscribe for Mystery Explain videos.